So the topic today is GenAI in DevOps, game changer, all of that. I also like to think of it as that magical assistance who can write 200 lines of YAML in 2 seconds, most of which does not run in production yet. Has that happened with anybody? Okay. Is there anybody here who has been debugging late in the night and you have copy-pasted stuff from ChatGPT or some other assistant or ask cursor to do something late in the night, hoping कि जैसे हम Stack Overflow से copy मार के चलाते थे, ये भी वैसे ही चलेगा. Anybody with me? Nobody? Anybody knows what the hell is Stack Overflow? Or am I too old? Okay, good. Now that I have your attention. So the question is, today the content or the output that we are getting from an LLM or from these helpers or automated autocompletes, how reliable is that? And can we take that directly? Do developers or DevOps engineers trust it enough to be able to take that and directly put it in production, or even further, to let an agent go and fix something in production? Do you trust it enough today? Mudassir, I'll start with you.
Hello. Am I audible? Yeah. I'm not too good with the mic, so please acknowledge. So the question is rightly put, like the example that you have posted. Like as early we used to copy paste the codes from Stack Overflow. Now are we in the position to trust the code that is generated by LLM, which is of course with more context as compared to what is written on the Stack Overflow. So I see trusting completely on AI generated code is of course something that we cannot really do. That is like I am one of the users of AI, so I can relate with that. So the example that you have given, like generating the code on cursor or probably on with any AI tool that you can think of, generating them and then using as is for your production, has it ever worked? In my case, never.
Never?
Never. So one thing that I realized, though I am not really someone who hates AI, like I'm one of the users of AI.
We can't. Nobody can hate.
We can't, exactly.
We can't. 10 years later, robots are going to take over. You have to be kind to them.
Exactly. So, but yeah, human insight, the human experience is of something that is of huge importance. Okay, you cannot bypass that. There is no compromise on that. But yeah, AI has definitely helped us. Like we spending hours or probably days scraping the entire internet, doing a lot of Google searches, Stack Overflow searches for finding out some very small solution that could have boosted our productivity exponentially. Yeah. That is something that where AI is definitely helping us significantly. Generating the boilerplate code, giving you the basic configurations. Okay, like I want to write an YML and I am struggling with indentation problem while writing a YML and like trying to debug the configuration of, let's say, Datadog config file through the entire day. Believe me, recently one of my colleague faced the exact same problem. He debugged the entire day the Datadog's config file, and they finally picked it, put it on the AI tool and said, tell me what is bad here.
Datadog ke bande hain yahan pe.
No, so it's not. So it's not the Datadog's problem. It is the YML's indentation problem that I'm talking about. Yeah. It's like basic things add a lot of value.
Absolutely.
So this is where exactly AI is putting a lot of values in our day-to-day developments and setting right context, giving right prompts. It is as good as driving someone who has generic context, but you want to extract specific values out of him. So it is that where AI is playing a really significant role.
Perfect. Let me open up the question to the rest of the panel. Give us 1 or 2 examples where AI has worked well for you and where it hasn't worked well for you. Please.
Yeah, I would like to answer this question.
Sure.
So, being into this industry for longer, like I have seen, like where the engineers totally dependent on Stack Overflow, and now, ChatGPT is being used most. Now, even the tools or platforms you can say has come, like Versal AI or Cursor. Unlike earlier models, they can understand your code base so well that they maintain the context across the file. They track the logic and suggest you, the suggestions. That feels like a pair programming. Nowadays, you cannot say that, that I can copy paste from here, but they will suggest you. You can go through it. But yeah, as Mudassirkhan already said, that, that whatever outcome we are getting from it, we cannot directly copy paste it. It requires a layer of developer, where you can understand its intent as well as, security aspect. So that is very much required. One more thing which I would like to highlight that, we cannot forget the velocity. So for example, we want to create any prototype. So with the help of AI, now prototyping has become, like the time it requires to generate the prototype has reduced to a half, I can say. Most of the, this grunt work can be done by AI, and engineers can focus on, mainly into critical stuff. So it has, personally, I feel like it has helped a lot.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. Anybody else wants to add?
So in our case, what we had done is anything which is a rapid application development, which is something a small or a quick solution which I need for the business. That is where we started using the AI. When it comes to a new application as such, it works out fine. It creates a basic framework and all, but definitely you have to fine tune it. You cannot use it as such. You have to provide it what are your environment restrictions, what are the security parameters you are looking for, right? But when it comes to any of the existing strategic applications, right, and if you want to use AI direct, it does not have the complete context. That is where you would need the AI to be part of your application itself. Let it open your repository to AI. That is where we went with all this AI solution within on-premise, and that is where we are able to get the benefits out of it. Because once we got the Olama model running, where we are using the AI in our on-premise repository and all, that is where it started suggesting how to get the things done correctly even in the existing strategic application. And that is where we switched from, rather than rapid application development for small applications, within existing big application, how I can do the releases fast, very quickly, without having the complete cycle or the life cycle of having 1 month release or 1 week release. Now we can do it on a daily basis, multiple releases. So that is where we found AI very beneficial.
Perfect. Anybody else wants to add?
I think I'll just give, everybody has spoken about like where the AI has helped. Maybe I can shed a light where it will not help.
Thank you.
First of all, AI should not become a liability, right? You should not use AI or any kind of LLM models just for sake of using it. It's a new buzzword out there, so everybody's trying to use it even if it's not in. So, right, I was just speaking to Sandeep in the room that some of the work that a DevOps engineer can literally do in 2 minutes, why to spend 20 minutes chatting to LLM, right? Because we already have a lot of context. So AI, I think basically it just makes your life easier because the search space has reduced a lot. Earlier, let's say if I want to deploy a Kubernetes cluster, I'll Google it and 10 different results will come in. But now you can literally ask a very perfect question that, okay, give me how to deploy a Kubernetes cluster on a AWS environment, these are the conditions. So you will get a pixel perfect answer. So the search space has reduced a lot, but saying that you can follow this, follow the answer of the AI or any ChatGPT based system as it is an absolute no, you cannot do that. And personally for me, because I am working a lot in a Web3 side of things, which is a relatively new technology, things are way different than the traditional systems. The AI is still far behind because the knowledge that AI is getting is present from internet only. And the knowledge itself is very, very limited in that domain. So I believe you can use AI still as a personal assistant to generate something, but you cannot just copy paste everything. And because if AI could have done that thing, we will not be having this conference, right? Like, because the AI would be,
for that.
Yeah, we would have like living somewhere, maybe doing farming or something, because our jobs will be gone. So still AI cannot do that yet.
Yeah. One of my earlier bosses used to say, thank God we have problems. That's why we exist.
And that's why software developers create bugs, right?
क्या बात कर रहे हो?
I mean, we should, I mean, so if there are no bugs, then what software developers
This
will
is
do?
being recorded. Be careful. All right. So I wanted to pick up on something which almost all of you have said. And you have said that we cannot take blindly what AI is producing and put it in production, which all of us agree. The problem there is you need a certain level of experience to be able to do that, right? Because then you know this is violating my architectural principles, it is putting in a security flaw, it is adding some random libraries which I have no clue about. It takes a level of experience. What happens to a guy who is just passed out from college, who's very excited and who doesn't know about all of that? How do you bridge that gap? Because the problem for an engineer is, this is the issue, I have to solve it. So are we introducing more problems than we are solving specifically for junior engineers in this context? What's your take on that? Fastest finger first.
Sure, I'll start with that. So basically, if you look at AI, whatever suggestions it is coming and giving you, right? So if you take it, it is more or less like something which a fresher can do, but it cannot give you something which will work out for your production version. It doesn't have the context of each and everything. So basically for, yes, the startup engineers or anyone who is just joining the industry, for them life would be very, very tough. Because for that, I already have the AI. But what I don't have the AI for is something expertise into. Something which can give me a pinpoint thing, how I should be running with my limitations into the prod, right? And there is CI/CD, everyone knows, everyone follows it out, right? But with AI coming into picture, you need to change your approach. You need to start adopting something called as continuous validation. What your AI is providing, has it started hallucinating? Has it started giving you more open ideas which you cannot implement it out? So you have to keep fine-tuning it, right? And that is where you will get the value. If you cannot train it to specific your environment, your production setup, your requirement, how your company works, what are the hardware restrictions, what are your ethical limits around it, then AI is not helping you out. Probably the fresher guy might be able to give you those better ideas because he can connect with 10 different folks to get how your company has been working, how the things are set up, right? So for freshers, it is going to be a very tough world down the line because literally what I am training a fresher to do my mundane task, right? That is AI able to do from day one. Now I'm switching to something called as prompt engineering. So to fresher, if I was explaining 10 things, if I'm putting those 10 things into AI, perhaps AI would be able to do it better. But after 5 years of experience, what that fresher is able to do, now I won't call him fresher, he's an experienced resource now. AI, I have to ensure that it is learning that out. But for a resource or a human, I don't have to figure out how it's learning. As long as he's able to perform out, he will learn 10 new things, he will add in more values. That is where we have to balance it out.
Tushar, do you want to add anything?
Very, very different approach towards AI. First of all, it's like a universe in a small question. You know, like if you ask a particular question, there is a huge possibility that the answer that you will get might be something that you wouldn't even have expected, you have not experienced. Whether whatever your previous organization, policies were, or the way you used to work, at least I have seen almost 99% of the times that whatever AI has given as an answer has probably been better than anything that was happening in the organization before. And I work for Geo, a little bit of a bureaucracy there, but then but it's fairly modern organization. So my view is that, and I'll tell you one thing that I did about a month back. We did a hackathon, and guess who won in that hackathon?
An AI agent?
They had to create an AI agent, the coders. So guess who won that hackathon? An intern. So a very different view. The people who have been experienced have some kind of a block when it comes to understanding and appreciating what this tool which many people have created those wonderful foundation models is able to help us. I mean, this was more of a philosophical viewpoint that I wanted to give. But it is working. I mean, right now, whatever production that there is no doubt that no one is taking this to production directly. But the quality of the production is 99% of the times better than whatever was seen earlier.
Han, please.
I think good perspective, Tushar. You know that, like you said, and that's what I also wanted to take forward, is that the new generation which is coming in, you know, which, like you said, the junior engineers, the youngsters which are coming into the professional world, they are used to it from their, you know, from their school.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? If I see the interns that we hired today, all of them, for them, ChatGPT is something like a, you know, something which they are using it from the college days, right? Today, I think about 90% of people, or even, I would not say 100%, but 90% people probably first write code with ChatGPT and then put it into their programs, right? Because that's what it is. But it's also about, what we are looking at is saying that, is it development only, or is it the DevOps piece? You know, there are two different things. So development, because there is a developer, there is a person who can actually look at what the output is coming from the, you know, the ChatGPT or, you know, whatever AI is giving. It's easy to monitor and manage, because still that code will still go through, you know, certain iterations, development, UAT, before you know, put it to go live. But when you're looking at DevOps AI, it's something which is completely different, because it's like traditionally people who have been doing system administration, we are trying to, you know, see how we can automate the tasks which people were doing. So obviously there are certain advantages which we have in terms of saying that a lot of manual repetitive tasks can be taken over by AI. But on the DevOps side, more I think it's around monitoring than about actually managing the code and moving it here and there. I think that will still remain manual control, but the operational piece, the monitoring piece is what I think is what DevOps or AI can really help actually.
Perfect, and thank you for that. That segues very nicely into my next question, which is things like writing YAML files, writing, for example, Terraform or Kubernetes code. How much of AI impact are you seeing in those areas? Harsimran, your perspective?
Yeah, I'd love to take that. So what I have observed in this particular direction, again related to the last one, if this particular thing given a right direction, then it can definitely pace it up. Basically, if you are a very newbie in learning kind of a technology, and if you are searching it out, it will give you a lot of examples, lot of code. But human intelligence is definitely going to be required there, because it don't know in what situation you are. You cannot give a complete situation to an AI, even in DevOps, even in development as well. So basically, whenever you are putting something there, you always have to vet your code. You have to see if it fits the right place or not. Okay. So if I say it is a good suggestion, but it is not a solution. Solution is something that we have to make. It can definitely give you an awesome solution in that part.
You want to add?
So what Harsimran told, I just want to add a little bit on top of that. I generally look at any AI solution like just like a fresher who joins us. Okay, so you have to give a set right context, train the models with your requirements. So in case of DevOps, especially if we address the generated configuration files or Terraform scripts or Kubernetes, where the community has been extremely large. The contribution of community over the internet is huge. Someone finding and going out and finding a solution for writing some solution for your Kubernetes deployment is definitely a challenging bit. Okay, and AI comes there and helps you definitely to smoothen that entire process from the start to the till the deployment process. But there are some risks that are definitely associated with it. Like when you are handling over your operations, your production environments to AI, then security cost, these are one of the aspects that in general, what are the best practices? AI can definitely help you adapt to that. But when it comes to customized security needs of your organization, your project, and then the cost implications which AI cannot understand, may not understand. AI can lead into provisioning unnecessary liabilities on you because of the automation that you can put in. So there is definitely a need of putting your expertise on top of whatever the code that has been generated, because on the sides of DevOps, this becomes extremely risky.
Yeah.
Okay, like compromising on the security, compromising on the cost aspects, they are something cannot be neglected.
So I think similar sentiments both on the coding side and on the DevOps side. Now if Haji, you want to add something?
Yeah. So I think it was Monday this week that two of my DevOps engineers, they created an agent for staging environment deployment. And the way they did it is, so in GenAI there are different kinds of foundation models. There is something which is called as a reasoning model, and there is which is Claude or Gemini, and there is another one which is like the OpenAI model. So OpenAI has O1 and O3 which are reasoning, but 4.1 which is mostly used, or 4.0 is a non-reasoning model. So how they created this agent, I just want everyone to know, very interesting. So they used the reasoning model when I gave a query and I said, I want to deploy a Kubernetes cluster with blah, blah, blah. These are my requirements. So they went to a reasoning model and created questions around it. Then they went to the ChatGPT model and started creating the YAML. And when they created the YAML, then they asked the question from the next step, and then the next step, and then the next step, and then the next step, which is exactly the way a reviewer would have asked. So the reasoning model became a reviewer, and the generating model was ChatGPT. And believe me, what I'm saying, it was perfect. And the Kubernetes deployment happened. And it was running exactly the way the ask was. So people are, and it was done by people, all right, not by an agent. Someone had to think that this is how I'm going to use these foundation models, and that's how I'm going to create something which is going to help me, and again, no production, all right? There is no doubt about it.
That's beautiful. You're using an AI to help another AI, using human intelligence. I think that's the best way to do it. Perfect. So let's take this discussion to the next level, where we have spoken about code, we have spoken about the DevOpsy area. Now let's talk about getting things into production and then looking at the AIOps side of things. How are you finding that space? How good is AI tools in that area in anomaly detection? And not just detection, but possibly prevention as well. How good are they at picking up signals? Because we have had tools for generations which are self-healing, which say, okay, this has happened, so this needs to be done. But how close are we to saying, I'm seeing these signals in the log, I'm picking up these kind of alerts, nothing has happened yet, but in half an hour, something is about to happen, because the last time I saw these kind of errors in the log, there was a P2 defect. I'm seeing 80% similar matches in the log, something is about to happen, go check. How close are we to that? Yeah, sure.
So if we talk about security perspectives, about when an incident will happen and all those, definitely I will say one thing, that we moved a step ahead, because earlier we used ML logics to do all these prediction, forecasting and all those things. How AI is taking it ahead is again, if we know that AI also using some of the MLs at the back end, it is trained over that one. So it is already having those results. But what extra it can provide you is the exact data, that why it thought about that, what is actually caused that problem in the past, and why it can happen in again, thinking a bit a step ahead. But if we can say, okay, it is 100% gonna be accurate, no, definitely 80%. You need to analyze the things further, okay? Then only you will be able to understand, okay, this have given me 80%, but the capability would be there that how to increase the accuracy of that. You can provide more relevant data to that particular system. More, trained data will help in the accuracy, okay? So ultimately, again, human intervention will be required, but yes, definitely we have taken a step ahead.
else. Yeah, I think on the observability part where like you rightly said, the logs are coming into the system and somebody needs to see and predict, okay, something's wrong is going to happen. I think this is the area where specifically AI will take a leap ahead of humans, because imagine a system with 100 TBs of logs coming in on a daily basis, right? You will need a team of 10 people, 15 people to observe these logs and predict something. But machine doesn't need, like you just need one machine and they can just observe your whole infra in one go and start predicting there that, okay, something's going to go wrong. So I can, just because the volume of the scale on the log side is so much, machines can do a better job at certain level than humans. But of course, it has to be trained on your own data. Otherwise, there will be a lot of false positive which might be coming in. But in my personal opinion, specifically for this use case of anomaly detection, checking the logs, especially detecting the frauds in a transactional based system. If you're running a exchange, a crypto exchange or a normal exchange, like your derivative exchange, and you produce different kinds of logs. And because these logs are huge in volumes, a machine can do a better job. And as you are saying that these kind of things have always existed. It's not there that we have not seen that. It's just that they are getting better in making those predictions right and working nicely at scale. But it comes with a risk of a security. Like imagine if an AI system detecting something and saying that 50 rupees has to be refunded to every user. That's a disaster, right? You cannot just give your AI. So a human intervention is needed where there are financial decisions are involved. That, okay, you can alarm me, but don't deposit the 50 rupees yet. Just let me know.
Just ask me before you transfer
Just
the
ask
money.
me.
Just
And
check.
also because humans, we have in the DevOps especially, we have to follow the sun approach, right?
Yeah.
It's a 24/7 system. So now you don't need those kind of teams maybe a lot, because a machine don't sleeps.
Yeah.
What Akshay just added, like I just want to add a little bit on that. I totally agree with him. This is one area where AI can really play a brilliant role, especially in correlating the alerts, correlating the data. Like I deal with a system that on daily basis deals with processes more than 22 billion data points, like pretty much on daily basis. So the complexity of system is such that like there is different components, their metrics, their logs, and someone sitting and finding the anomaly and then anticipating what can happen in future. So for predictions, of course, AI needs to little bit get matured definitely in future. But for that, we definitely need to invest in telemetry and integrate as per our use cases with the telemetry data with the AI agents. And then the logs, which all of us pretty much never liked to go find the issues, read each line of the log. Like we all done in the past, and nobody really likes to do that. Okay, this is not the developers or the engineers really love to do. They want to do some productive stuff.
They are not very pretty to look at,
No,
let's say that.
They will never like. So AI can do a brilliant work there. They can assist at identify the possibilities. In the past, what happened, what can go wrong. And yeah, it definitely can help on that side.
Okay. I want to give you a scenario now, which happened with me about a week and a half back, right? So we were developing an application, and imagine a front end with about 20 odd microservices connected to different external APIs, endpoints, stuff like that, right? Now, this was all written using Replit, okay? Generated very beautifully. Now, at one point, there was an error where the front end was passing something and the back end expected a certain different sort of arguments, and there was a mismatch, right? And we gave that problem statement. Okay, sorry, okay, I messed up. Two things. This was not done Replit, this was hand-coded, right? And that was the error. And one of my engineers gave this problem to Cursor, thank you. So gave it to Cursor, ye problem hai, this is the code base, these arguments are not matching, what do you do? What that guy ended up doing is he started changing the backend code, right? Changed two functions without realizing that there is a cascading effect on that. So you change those two functions, then the next API call gets broken, the third party system doesn't even know that is broken in. So my question is, how much autonomy do you give to AI agents on what changes to make, and how do you police these kind of architectural decisions where it should have changed front end, on random, we don't know why it decided to change back end, did all those changes, and then we had to roll it back saying, "Arey nahi, idhar dekh udhar mat ja, kya kar raha hai?" So how do you give that policing, especially on decisions on where to change? Any thoughts on that?
I would like to share my experience on this as well.
Sure.
I've also faced this. I was developing something on Vercel for front end and Cursor as a back end. So I was supposed to modify something in a big TSX file, whereas the context which I gave it to it, like the prompt which I gave, it actually changed the complete complete, you can say, the look and feel and everything it changed. So I had to roll it back again and give the exact, the segment, like where it has to change. So narrowing the space where it has to impact, that matters. And the kind of prompt you give it to it.
Right.
If you are giving vague prompt, then it has to...
it has to figure out.
Yeah, it has to figure it out. But if you give it the, correct path and, the prompt, then definitely it will make your life easy and it will give you the outcome that is desired. So that I've experienced.
So is it more effort to give the correct prompt? Are we introducing more technical debt there rather than making it fast? Is there a trade-off?
I would say that basically when you're passing the command to AI, you have to know your stuff. Unless you know it,
Thank you
it
very
cannot
much.
succeed.
Any other thoughts on this?
What Tushar said, that you're using two different AI models to help each other, right? So
Right.
the answer is again in the same thing, that for your specific use case, you'll have to train the model. If you don't train it properly, it can create havoc. It's like, we've been, I don't know how many people, it's a very different example, but we all put apps on the Play Store,
Yeah.
right? And a lot of times we find that, it just gets rejected with no reason. Because there is an AI which is looking into it. There are millions of apps being uploaded there. It's not an human which is actually looking into it. It's an AI. And then we finally, and that's where it is, that there are maybe more false positives being generated there. Because it's been trained in that way, they don't understand some of the use cases. It's a very, very generic model which is running out there, right?
Sure.
So the more generic the model, the bigger the problem. So unless and until you make it very specific, people understand what needs to be done, how to train the model, I think these things will remain.
Yeah. Tushar, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, you heard that story, right? Bangar ke haath mein talwar.
Okay, I want to share one more story with you guys. So, I was working with somebody, and the problem statement was to create some beautiful looking dashboards, querying data from different kind of tools out there, building up a logic. And the estimate that I gave to the customer was saying, hey, it will take me about 2 to 3 weeks to build this. They were okay with that. And I sat with my team, I said, guys, this is what we have to build. 3 weeks is what I've told them. I think 2-2.5 hafte mein ho jana chahiye. And then as we started discussing this, we said, arey, Replit mein bana ke dekhte hain. Why not? Right? So we sat down and everybody's at home. This was this last Tuesday morning around 11ish. And we said, okay, let's do it right now at Teams. We opened up Replit, I fired it up on my machine. I said, okay, I'll sit quiet. One of you tell me what the prompt should be. And in 45 minutes, we had the first cut going. It was done. And we said, you know what? Let's go back to the customer the next day. And we went and he said, hey, this is what it is. We're done. And they were like, this is awesome. This is great. Less than 24 hours. एक काम करो फ्राइडे तक प्रोडक्शन में डाल दो नहीं we were joking. This is all mock data. There is nothing real happening here, right? Because everything, we gave the model a free run and we said, hey, self-generate data. 45 minutes done. So, दिखाने के दांत अलग थे, खाने के दांत अलग थे. If you have to really make it in production with the right checks and balances, it's probably again a 3-4 week effort. Have you had experience like this?
I said like prototyping. Prototyping is done well by this one, but for exact production run, you have to invest time.
Latest in my team, we wanted to implement some the Microsoft Entra ID for the SSO implementation for one of our clients' use cases, and we went through the entire requirement and everything, and then we decided, okay, let's first work upon the design and architecture of what exactly we are going to do, and let's build a framework, and then we can plug and play the other stuff. So primarily, we were not having the requirements of SSO integrations. We discussed, we finalized the approach, the take and everything, and one of my application engineer just started, and he came in just 2 hours with pretty much everything ready. With pretty much everything ready, and I was really shocked. Okay, it's ready. We can release tomorrow. Yeah, let's release. Okay, it cannot happen like that. We are releasing to production. Let's understand the scenarios. Let's understand the perspective of the UX team, how exactly we want to put on the front end side, and then what is the impact that it is going to bring on the security aspects. Let's understand that. Go through a proper SDLC cycle. That convention that has been, it's a proven convention, tried and tested thing for your production releases. So let's do that.
Yeah.
And then we started the actual development. So as he said, prototyping is something that, which is important for giving us confidence about whether doing this, how much effort it will take, what will be the workflow of entire implementation, and what will happen, what next we have to do, setting up the entire, I would say, the project. For that, it definitely helps a lot. But the actual development, actual human mind efforts, of course, cannot be replaced.
Okay, one last question, and I'm going to go a little philosophical in this last question, right? Knowing what AI is doing, we could not have had this discussion 2 years back, because none of us has any clue ye hone wala hai, right? We are all sitting here looking very wise and talking about AI, but none of us knew this, right? Now, assuming the same level of improvement in AI, if we go another 2 years, 3 years forward, right? Let's say 2027, 28, and imagine all the promises of AI being realized then, 3 years, 4 years later. And AI can produce the code that is, let's say, about 90% ready, right? It can almost do everything that we have discussed now. Because it has matured, the models have matured, the reasoning has matured. Are we looking at an existential crisis where we move away from creators to reviewers? Because it takes us so much time to create, AI can do it much faster. All of us have said we can't leave anything to it, which is great, I agree. But 3-4 years later, if we are just, if I can use the word reduced to being a reviewer, does that put us in an existential crisis? कह रहे मुझे तो कोडिंग से प्यार था, मैं तो कोडर हूँ, पर अब तो मैं कोड लिखता ही नहीं, क्योंकि कोड तो लिख रहा है, अब ये all I'm doing is just plumbing pieces together and reviewing it. Does that put us in a risk? मैं कौन हूँ, मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ types?
Maybe.
Answering that, so basically we tried
Closer,
something-
mic closer, please.
Sorry, able to hear me? Yeah, better? I just wanted to ensure you are getting up, that's all. Sorry, so coming back to this, so we had a brainstorming session within our firm last year or something, and that is where we realized like AI is moving very fast, right? And that is where our CXOs and all, they were like, what is the future of it, and how can we exploit it more? So that is where we said, okay, can we open the AI directly to the business users when they don't have to come with their requirement, give it to our BA giving it to program managers, then developer, then they are developing something, then we are having reviewing and all that. So we said, okay, let's skip our strategic apps, let's go with the smaller things which they keep needing for their BAU tasks. And what we realized is, several of those business users who had no idea about the code and all, they are now getting, there are small apps up and running in Python, and it is able to work the way they wanted it. But the thing is, they started coming to us when their first application went live. They are like, okay, we don't know how to manage it out. And now what we are doing is a stamp work for them, reviewing out. Can this application survive it in prod? Can it survive with our security parameters? Now we are helping them how? By creating APIs which will integrate to their apps, which will directly take the data from prod, do the additional work and all. So literally for several of those things, what we are found that all those small projects which used to come to us a year back, none of those are coming to us other than getting stamped. There are scenarios where we have said like, yes, these are something which cannot go into prod at all. It will start causing performance issues and all that. But there have been scenarios where we had to just ring fence it and we made it live. So precisely what you said, right? For several of the areas down the line, yes, it will become just a reviewer or a stamp, move on.
So is that good news or bad news?
It's a good. You can start putting your energy into other good works. See, it is not like AI will do everything for you. You need to find out more areas. You can probably start taking up more things, delivering more.
Maybe I'll just compare it to like a aviation analogy, like can AI fly the plane right now? Can you trust an AI to fly the plane, right? Still no, because the autopilot have been in existence since many years now, but we still need pilots. What has changed with autopilot is earlier in the cockpit we needed 4 pilots, a flight engineer, a first officer, a captain, and one more to monitor the fuel, especially when you're going through the longer routes. That has reduced to 2. Similar thing I believe in personal opinion when happens that can you give AI everything to build? It will start doing a lot of things for you. The things that were done by 100 people will run with 20 people, much faster. But still AI can't fly a plane and it cannot be able to like do everything, but it will reduce the number of people who are needed to do that thing.
Fair enough.
I think to answer this particular scenario, we should, for thinking for what is going to happen next 2 years, I would say let's go back 20 years back. I remember people during my childhood, people used to be afraid about the same problem. Because of the introduction of computer. So what people did, there is one set of people who learned to use computer, okay, and they are surviving today. Okay, they evolved with the technology, they evolved with their skill sets. So they learn to use the technology. So technology is always there to assist you, to help you, to make your lives better. Technology cannot replace you. Okay, you as a human can never be replaced. I think this fear has to go away. Okay, even with AI, it's not going to happen. Yeah, of course, it will help you. It will do a lot of things which we deep inside really don't like to do. Okay, it's going to replace them. And what we really like to do, we'll be able to focus more on that. We'll be able to build something much better than AI than tomorrow.
Sure. Anything else? Anybody?
See, if you just take the analogy to our good analogy from you. The thing is, if you look at our own lives, right? Lot of what we used to see when I started my career almost 20 years back, we used to see a lot of these people, serving tea, coffee, somebody, doing a photocopy, serving, all your invoices or something, that had to be taken. There was a person who would take in tray, out tray, he would take, paper from one desk to the other, go and submit it here and there. All those jobs are gone, right? So the first thing that will happen is the low-end jobs, even in the technology side, is what will actually go away. So while saying that everything will be automated and, nobody will be required to do anything, that is probably, we don't know, maybe not in our lifetime, maybe it may happen, obviously we have, when I was a kid studying, I could see, that, I don't know how many of you sitting in the room have actually seen the movie called Terminator, right? So that's what it is, right? That's a science fiction which we can now see is actually reality. Maybe 20 years back, it was, that, is this really going to happen? You've created something, you've trained something, and that same program or that robot or whatever you may call it is actually now trying to outsmart you, right? So that's where what we are saying is, yes, this will take some time. We will have to have the right regulations. One place I was reading is, treat, AI like a junior engineer, right?
Yeah.
So it's also like, we may have to set some boundaries, saying beyond this, I think the AI should not be going right now because we are probably not ready for it. So I think that's what will happen.
Thank you. Andy.
Slightly philosophical. So what GenAI is doing is that one thing for sure, in 2 years, this is a new technology revolution, and all the technology people and coders are not going to go anywhere. The salaries are going to increase, and the jobs are going to increase. So that is 100% sure. But what is going to go is that services are going to become cheap. Tax consultant. You don't need tax consultants anymore. Just go ask the question, and you will get an answer. You need a CA to give you advice on financial, you will get that answer. You need any information which currently you had to pay for through a person. Those services will become extremely cheap. So the problem is going to come to where you had to ask a question and you were getting an answer. All right, all of those services, maybe 2 years, maybe 5 years down the line, are going to become dirt cheap. So the problem is going to happen to that services industry. The services where the service person asks you a question and you have to answer is going to remain the same. So like a psychiatrist, where you don't know what is the problem, right? Or a doctor, for example, wherein they will ask you questions and then you have to answer. So that's how the current GenAI technology is. I don't know what will happen, what technology will come later on, where maybe they will start asking questions. So as of now, that capability does not exist. The current capabilities, we ask a question and we get an answer.
Thank you very much. I think we are out of time. Thank you very much for your participation, and hopefully you got some leads, you got some answers, and hopefully this was interesting enough. Thank you very much.